Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I have to tell you, thank you. I am so excited about this, and I'm so excited too about our panel. Deborah's been working, she brings 20 years of real estate experience, especially in the entertainment division. And when the market crashed in 2008, she pivoted and she capitalized on the fact that the film industry was growing. So when you think about chaos meeting opportunity, she did it. So we're very excited because she has an inventory of condominiums and luxury homes, and she definitely has a catalog of rental properties and understands servicing that clientele. With Minuet is on her way, but she is co-founder of Atlanta Luxury Homes. Some of the homes and she's an amazing interior designer, guys, and she brings her Vietnamese and French heritage. You can see it with her world travels. But one of the awesome things is that everything is meticulously curated in the homes that she does. When you look at them, Scarlett Johansson has stayed in her homes, Robert Downey Jr. I mean, that's just a list of the A-list talent that's been there. Nakia, lifestyle realtor, love her. And she is one of the pivotal reasons why we have this class, because she does so much with the entertainment industry, guys, like beyond. And when this, I would say, like the music scene really burgeoned 20 years ago, 25 years ago, Nakia was right there in the forefront, and she had the highest sold listing price in 2016 at $8.8 million. Miss LaRonda, yeah, you guys are like, that takes work. Let's clap for that. And Miss LaRonda Sutton, I mean, you guys, we could stand the whole entire time talking about it, but she was the inaugural founding director of the mayor of Atlanta's film division, entertainment division. Thank you.
The Atlanta Mayor's Office of Film and Entertainment.
It is so long, right? But she has more than 2 decades of film, television, music, and new media experience, and she was able to take that experience and capitalize it, and is the owner and principal of Entertainment.gov, which is a consulting firm dedicated to advising policymakers on the long-term economic benefits of being a film and entertainment-friendly municipality. So just to let you know, we have an hour and a half, right? We also want to get some questions. So of course, they're going to answer as in depth as possible, but they're also going to be brief because we have a lot of things we want to cover and we want to give you the most value in the shortest amount of time. So to get started, ladies, we would have had a man on the panel, so I just want to make sure all the men in here don't feel slighted, okay? And feel free, anyone can answer this question. What special services would a client in the entertainment industry want? Because we all have preconceptions. So let's hear it from the experts.
Go ahead, McKinney, you start with that.
Oh, wow.
On the real estate side.
On the real estate.
You know, in the entertainment business, that can range from anything, from anything to anything. Yeah. So you start on the real estate side.
Okay, awesome. I've seen a lot of special requests from personalized flower arrangements to bottled water to, I had to get a client a piano. The home didn't come with a piano. The owner didn't play the piano. So I had to put something together to make sure that he had a piano for 2 weeks. The budgets are really sometimes not a factor. So it makes my job easier to be able to get those things. And because I do lifestyle services, I can add that extra buffer as far as financially on top for providing those type of services in a timely manner. So it can vary from jewelry to dog trainers to estheticians to massage therapists. I have my hand on the pulse of those vendors, and they want it when they want it. So, yeah.
I also think that, you know, when you deal with entertainment, I kind of split it down the middle between, you know, locations that are in front of the camera and then locations that are behind the camera, right? And what that means is the ones that are going to be filmed, that will actually be like the on-camera hero house or any locations that you see, like if they were filming in this, you know, space here, that's in front of the camera. Then behind the camera, you have all like production housing, right? And production housing can range from your, what we call, in old days it was politically, well, now it's politically incorrect to say A, B, and C talent. So now it's like maybe tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 talent. So for someone like Robert Downey Jr., you know, in terms of production housing, that is, of course, tier one, right? And then you have, maybe your below the line crew members. That can range from, tier two to tier three. Your producers, and your directors, and what they call above the line talent. And that's all the creative, right, that shoots what you see on the camera. The end product, right? So that would be your executive producer, your director, associate director. That would be your writers. Any of those folks can be considered between tier one and tier two. Now, that's for big movies as well. Now, when you get into independent projects, well, depending upon the budget, if you're a student film, everybody could be, tier three at that point. So in their special needs, sometimes it can be between, I only need this place in terms of production housing, right? I'm not talking about in front of the camera, behind the camera. In terms of production housing, I may need this place for 10 days. I may need this place for 6 months, right? And in this place, I need to make sure, like Nakia said, if I'm dealing with my tier one, I need to make sure that they have basketball court, weight, training center. If not, can I build one, right? Can I put up a fence around the property for security sake, right? And how about, can I install cameras, right? Because I need to make sure that from a paparazzi standpoint, they feel secure and protected. I may need to put in, whatever it is that they feel that they need to feel comfortable. Now, and that may range from staying at the executive stage for tier three, right? Is there a place that we can house the whole entire crew? So that's why, sometimes when they come into town, they're looking for, extended stay hotels, depending upon the budget. They're looking for, if you look at what goes on in Pinewood, right? When Marvel was there and they had all the movies there for, the length of time. You had a lot of people that actually moved into, into Peachtree City and purchased homes, right? So it varies so much. But know that on a major production, when they come into town, that's why they look for Georgia residents, which is good news, which is the benefit of our tax incentive, right? Lots of folks trained. Now we can staff up to 50 movies at once, which is a really, really big deal. So with that being said, it's really affecting our economy here. So they're purchasing homes, they're hotel rooms, there are short-term leases, so many different levels.
Is that LaRonda literally just hit on 5 of my questions.
I'm sorry.
So I just want you to know that's so because and Deborah, when I come to you, but one of the things I was going to ask too was kind of like, what are the tiers of talent? You addressed that. What is talent looking for a home? And Deborah, what do you think as far as the special services, and what do you think are the biggest misconceptions people have about working with folks in the entertainment industry?
You're talking to me, right? The misconception that people have about that is the intimidation by who it is and what they are coming here for, and can I accommodate, and the special steps that has to go into our regular GAR forms. It's very intimidating for anyone on the West Coast because it's not slanted for a short-term lease. It's geared towards a long-term unfurnished lease. So we've had to, and through my 10 years of doing this, I have worked with attorneys and business managers all up and down Wilshire Boulevard, and so we've fine-tuned all the language to make it very friendly for people to go, okay, well, if I'm going to this condominium, I have to deal with this HOA, and then what are my restrictions, and then as far as a homeowner, and I try to match the homeowner with the tenant, right? Because you want to make sure your homeowner is in tune with the needs, and if they do ask for a fenced-in backyard for a dog that's visiting, or to convert the garage into a gym, right? Turn off security cameras because they don't want to be watched by the homeowner. I mean, there are a lot of factors. And I'll do the referrals as well, but I give them the name of the personal trainer that I feel like will cater to them, and a variety of lists when they say, all right, I'm here, what do I need this, this, and this, and this, and I go, here's your list, and you decide whether or not you want to move forward with that person. And it's been great, because they are so normal, and they're so easy to work with if they feel like you care. And so they're appreciative. And they really are accommodating to us to make it wonderful for them. So when they leave in 90 days, they've had an amazing experience. So the technology is up to speed, the bedding is great in the house. They feel like that they have been respected. So when they come home from being on set all day, 14 hours a day.
14 hours.
Then they are comfortable and they feel like that they are, well taken care of. And the producers and the directors will say, thank you so much, because when they show up and they've been happy at their home, they're happy on set.
Yes.
So that's our job.
And I'm so glad you said that, because you bring me to two different things. So we know that movies, like life, things run over, right? Maybe run, something may be going on a little bit longer. That definitely happens with films. We have rain, we have traffic, we have just all types of issues. Can you speak to, as far as how to present that offer to your clients? Because one issue that we're seeing in the marketplace is that because it's an offer for rent, agents are not presenting the offer. An offer is an offer. You have to present it. So can you speak to presenting an offer? Nakia, do you want to?
I would love to. Because I have been doing this for a very, very long time. So when the films really started pouring in, of course, everyone wanted to say in Buckhead. So I would call some of my colleagues in Buckhead who had the fabulous listings, and they were just shutting me down from the first, hi, would your client be interested in renting to a, no, absolutely not. And it just hang up in my face. And I would email them, I would text them and say, it's $30,000 a month. Would you, I see you've been on the market for 3 years. Could you consider maybe asking your client, would they consider 30 days for $30,000? No. It was just like an absolute shutdown. I've seen a lot more leniency now since it's pouring, it's now all over the place. But
Those realtors are now calling us.
yeah, and the
Do you have
brokers,
anybody?
and the brokers. And so it's like, Nakia, remember that time? Oh, you're still on the market? What? We don't want that one anymore. They're now in Peachtree City, where they were embracing the industry, and it was like, Buckhead really didn't want them at the time, and it was sad. And so now when we're presenting, it's a little different, but you still have some agents and brokers that are still not savvy on it and just will not budge. What I've been asking the market for is just a little more hospitality when it comes to us working with each other. Instead of shutting down something that come to classes like this, learn it so that we can grow in our market and in our industry. If that answers your question.
It does. And Nakia, how would you tell the people in the audience to present it to their clients? So when you're thinking about insurance, the first thing clients are thinking of, are they going to tear my house up? And it's like, if it's not Robert Downey Jr., you're probably thinking they're going to tear your house up. So how do you help them set the expectations for their client?
Well, learning from...
And Deborah, too, after Nakia.
Yeah, learning a lot from Yolanda Adams? From LaRonda. The properties are usually better when the talent leads it. It's going to be protected. It's going to be insured. When it's short-term rental, insurance really doesn't come up a lot on my end because the deposits sometimes are so heavy and so high. But just shouting out Atlanta Luxury Property. Atlanta Luxury Rentals, they made my life so much easier. I've been working with Minuet since day one and with my first celebrity client, and they made me look amazing. And with them, the process is so much easier. They are beyond the best. I don't even look in MLS first. I contact Minuet, or I'll contact Mariana first. Or Chad. I will contact them before I even decide to call you guys. Because with them, it's just yes, yes, yes. It's always yes. And it's never a whole GAR form. They have one sheet of paper, sign and go. They are amazing. I can't wait to get to learn about your properties too. But with me, I just present it as it's a very lucrative amount of money. This is the production. I don't give out talent or names because then the price goes up. If you say 30 and you say Robert Downey Jr., they're going to 150. So we don't play around like that. But I guess we just present it and make it look as presentable as possible.
So I like to give just a little kind of context of where we are in the whole state industry, from where we stand on a global scale to where, to a national scale, right? So, our tax incentive was passed in 2008. And I want you guys to understand that we are now a top five production center in the entire world, right? And so for the time, now you have to realize from when Hollywood was created to now, they've been, this has been their business. So for the state of Georgia to really become a premier production center and destination place for filming, in literally it's been 2008, we're in, that's 11 years, right? So this has kind of happened in tiers, and there has been learning curves. But I want to commend everybody in our state and everybody in our cities locally that have welcomed the productions into their community, because it's a really big, it's just so amazing to think that we are where we are in the amount of time that it's taken. So we first established productions coming here, which is what the incentive was for, right? Attract the productions. Once they get here, then you have to have a trained workforce, right? So now you train them up and they have jobs to go into, right? So now that you have a trained workforce, now the next level is infrastructure, right? And making sure that those ancillary and support businesses are here so they don't have to fly things in from LA and New York all the time. Backdrops or, additional camera equipment, or even certain types of hair for wigs. They don't have to go to LA or New York now because we have those prop houses. We have all of those ancillary businesses. We've opened up almost between 12 to 1,300 ancillary businesses since 2008 to support the industry, right? So then you go into infrastructure. So now the final level where we are is, okay, how do we sustain with fluctuation of the incentive, right? If there was anything that would rock the boat. Well, the next level of that and the way we maintain our positioning in the industry is homegrown content creation. So that is the focus of us all at this point, supporting our local production companies, finding those great Georgia stories, getting them made here, because now they have everything, that they need here to make major motion pictures, right? So with that being said, what you all have done to support where we're at in the learning curve that you have come through so quickly, I just want to give you guys, make sure you pat yourselves on the back, because you guys have done a phenomenal job. So when they talk about, we'll go film over here in Ohio. Ohio is where Georgia was in 2002 when it comes to, support. So it's just not, because celebrity culture, entertainment culture is now a part of Georgia, right? It's, when you think about Georgia now, it's, okay, Coca-Cola, civil rights, movies, agriculture, we're right up there, so it's a part of our fabric now.
No, it definitely is. And
speaking of fabric, we go to our interior designer. Look at that segue. So, some of the places that you've designed, I talked before you came, just that you curate these meticulous places, and with talent, they need to be able to step in and have just a seamless experience. What differentiates how you set up your properties, and what are talent looking for when they need that home away from home?
That was actually our tagline. I'm no longer with Atlanta Luxury Rentals. I sold my half to Chad, but that business is still very viable. So if any of you are interested, I can always give you his contact information. We had established ourselves as the premier short-term luxury rental company in Atlanta. So 2.5 years ago, we started that company, him and I did all the interior design. So, you know, our thoughts were, what do we want if we were staying in a 5-star hotel? And that's basically what we put in our properties. So we have 600 thread count sheets. All our properties have Vitamixes. We did Italian linens, you know, really plush towels, amazing mattresses. The soaps, yeah, we partnered with Molton Brown, and so we were the first non-hotel chain that they allowed to have their amenities in our properties. So that was awesome. We started with L'Occitane, but then we went to Molton Brown. You know, the things that I find that they were typically looking for, I mean, like in the global view was, you know, they wanted safety, security. That's probably top of the list. Nakia probably knows that. But, you know, we had 35 properties over at Ponce City Market. So, like, we were the only ones at Ponce, and we had A-list actors stay there, and it was just kind of crazy, you know, because it's not very secure. So you just don't know.
Well, in comparison to if we were staying in LA at a Ponce
That's
City
what I was just
Market,
saying,
it's a different.
Yes,
Right.
the culture
Yes.
here in Atlanta is
Yes.
different. I don't think they don't get bombarded
Yes.
like they do in LA. You know, like they want walkability. They want, you know, if they're looking at a house, I feel like they want privacy, so they want a garage or a back door, a private backyard. So like, you know, some Leland cypress. They don't want the neighbors really to be like into their business. You know, with ours, we had a lofts, apartments, condos. So those were more, some of the buildings have concierge, some of them didn't. There were actors that refused to stay in some of the places because they did not have a concierge. There were some that just didn't care. I mean, we had big actors stay with us. We had Robert Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson and Ed Helms and Jack Black. And so they were all, I think, amazing people. As far as like the larger homes, you know, if they had a nanny suite and it had a private entrance, that I thought was, did you agree with that, Nakia? Let's see here, what else? They want quiet. So if, you know, you're looking at a house and they're doing construction next door, the house is not gonna rent. So, because a lot of times they're sleeping during the day if they're filming at night. So, let's see here.
That was problematic with some of the high rises too.
Yes,
Because there was
yes.
so much construction going on in Midtown that, you know, and you have to prepare for that.
Yes,
So-
we had Gabrielle Union stay
I
with
was just
us.
about to mention, she moved Gabrielle for me.
3
and
times.
They kept calling.
Yeah.
And they kept calling, but they made it, that's what we need too, that flexibility. Cause she films late at night and she sleeps during the day. And they were amazing with moving her around 3 times.
We set up a place in 5 days. It was, I mean, from start to finish, it was pretty amazing. Blackouts, they want blackouts in the bedrooms, you know, because they're sleeping during the day. Nice TVs, sound system of some sort. I mean, it could be a Sonos. So, and you know, if it has exercise equipment or exercise room or access to a fitness center, that's a plus. So pool was huge as well, if you can get a house with a pool. So.
And Deborah, what are you seeing as far as some of your requests? What are kind of like those things, those requests that you always hear?
Safety, location, walkability, access to the expressways wherever they're shooting. We've put people in Buckhead because they want gated, and then they have to travel all the way through town in order to get down to Pinewood, and it just wears them out. So you know, you listen to them. You have to listen to what they're asking. Don't take them wherever they, you know, where you feel like they want to be. Listen to what they're asking, because it really becomes on them. And saying, you talked me into this house because it had this and this and this, but now I'm having to fight the traffic. You just can't do that. You have to tell them exactly up front what they're to expect, and if they want a 2-car garage, don't show them street parking. You know, if they want gated, then just give them. And the one thing I love about your interior design is whenever I would take them into one of your properties, it could have been raw and rustic, but it was absolutely perfect turnkey 4 seasons style, and that's what they want.
Yes.
You know, and they may pay a little bit more for that, and some of them come out of pocket and they don't really want to do that, but they really are pretty specific until you start fine tune what exactly they will settle for. And now the inventory has gotten so slim. And people are starting to buy their own homes and feel like, okay, well, I'd much rather you lease it out if I'm not here than having to, go through this hunt again. And then now they're taking contiguous jobs, and so they're extending it. And to answer your question about that, I always build an extension with a 25-day notification. And I've got cool homeowners that are pretty upfront and say, as long as I know 30 days out, I'll just stay at my lake house, or we'll just continue to travel, or,
Yeah, because that was one of the questions was, things happen and people need to stay over. What do you do? So you heard the contingency that she puts in there.
Can I answer
Yeah.
that? So with us, what we did is we would try to reach out to them 30 days ahead of time. If they didn't know whether or not they're extending, we would reach out, or Mariana would reach out 2 weeks and then a week. So we would not rent, or we not pre-rent at the end of the term of their stay until we confirmed that they were no longer there. Because to us, our main focus was the current tenant and making them happy. So,
Yeah, so the television production series client is different from the movie client. Movie client, shorter term. Television series will be here for a much longer term and may even purchase if they're here on a series.
It's true. Let me tell you something. You guys are a jewel. As far as this market, that was my question, is do you find the people investing in real estate? And if so, are they sticking to where they're actually renting at? Or are they looking at outside areas that are different than where they have been renting at and staying?
Well, for instance, if it depends. Like if you take the folks on, well, let me clarify this first. Whenever you're on a production, right, and you have to move talent to and from, or they have to move themselves to and from, they have what they call a 30-mile radius from where the production center takes place, right? In LA, it's now TMZ, the show, the movie zone. So that's pretty much kind of what it is. It's 30 miles from where the production office is listed, right? So with that, because with the union, they're very strict on the travel time, the rate when they show up, how long they can stay, when they leave, how long they need to be in the car. Like they're paid down to a T. So they have a 12-hour turnaround. So if they're on set and they leave, they cannot come back to set for 12 hours. I mean, like it's bananas, you guys, when you get into the timing rules for not only SAG but also IATSE, right? So with that being said, they look for places within those zones, right? So that's why it's important. The metropolitan Atlanta area has been like really, really stellar in housing and having places available within that zone. We run into problems when they're moving out, Covington, places like that. So, but it's getting better. So, and the rules are getting better too. So, yes, bless you.
Nice collective bless you, everyone.
And so I can answer on the purchase side. I just sold a home a few months back to an executive producer. She was here filming a few TV shows. And it was amazing because the agent that she was working with, she sent her a house that she loved. And the house was under contract. It was a contingency with a kick out. And she said, the lady said, oh, it's not available. And then she said, okay, do you know anything else around where I'm shooting? Yeah. And I said, did this really go like this? And she said, it really went like this. So she called a mentor in LA who referred this realtor. And, and then, how did she get to me? I don't even remember. Someone, Junior, referred it to me. Mm-hmm. And so I reached out to her, and ever since that, I found her another location, sold her the house she's in now. And like Deborah and Christian was saying, that now she's allowed me to manage her property. So when she's in LA filming, I'm booking her home, which the Beltline is right behind her home. And it wasn't in an ideal location that the stars are going to. It's actually in Southwest Atlanta, right off Martin Luther King Boulevard. but the homes there are like in the 500,000 high price points. And this builder is a Johns Creek builder. And he carved out this area ahead of time, and now it's just going great. And it's a smart home. And she's like, Nakia, I've told Ludacris, I've told Shaka, I've told all these celebrity people, like, and they're like, how did you end up in Southwest Atlanta? And they're like, my realtor, Nakia, and I got the house, it was sold for $20,000 in equity. When she closed, it appraised over. And so I'm seeing, like we were just mentioning, don't place people where you think they want to be. Open it up, give them varieties. Like I told her about Southwest Atlanta, I told her about South Fulton, I told her about Johns Creek, I drove her to Pinewood, I just let her see everything. But when we got off of 20 and came down Martin Luther King, she said, this reminds me of LA, this culture, this is where I want to be. And I said, now let me drive around this corner. Because I'm not trying to hide. You know, we find, for some ethics and some oaths.
Right.
So I said, now let me drive around here.
But that is LA too. It
That's
can be
LA.
fabulous one block and the next block it can look crazy. So they get it.
So we did her due diligence. She flew in for one day because she had to get back to LA for another shoot. So I picked her up from the airport. She had her luggage and everything, and she had a gift for me from LA. And so we drove around, and I said, I'm glad you love this park, and I'm glad you love the Beltline, but let me turn at this light. And I pointed out Andrew Young's home, and I told all the mayors that were in the area. She was all lit up, and then she looked and said, oh. And I said, you still want the house? I do. She did, and she closed in less than 30 days, and she is amazing. I have a key to her home. I have her alarm code. I was there letting the cable people in. When she needs furniture, I might send one of my agents or my assistant there to let, deliveries come, and she's referred me to 3 other executives. So I'm saying that to say, don't stay in the box. Just don't.
That's how I got my start, really.
I was just gonna ask about relationships.
It is about relationships and how much you do for that. And my very first client is an executive producer with Walking Dead.
Oh.
He wasn't at the time. He was working on a Fox thing, and they canceled. And I helped him with meeting the cable people and the movers and everything. And he referred his crew and cast to me. And then they went on to do other projects, and they used me for them. And it just snowballed. And so, just like you say, if you really just go the extra mile for them and they feel like they've got somebody that they can depend on and trust, then you'll get repeat business. And then they will end up most likely referring you to somebody to purchase. And they're lovely. And they're very mesmerized by our low prices compared to
And you know what, just going on relationships down the line, one of the biggest things with this is discretion. You can't text your friends and say, oh my gosh, I have whoever. No, you can't sit there and sneak pictures. You know how you guys do Instagram and Facebook and you take pictures of your client from the back and then put emoji on you can't. You just can't. So can you speak to discretion and just the confidentiality? And please feel free to go down the line because it's in every single sector for you guys.
Yeah, with us, a lot of times we had to sign an NDA, especially with the big actors like Scarlett Johansson and Robert Downey Jr. So we couldn't tell anybody that they were staying there. After they left, we could disclose it. But at the time, they wanted their privacy for sure. So they, we even asked them to put reviews on us. They would never give reviews, but they would refer their friends to us. And so it's a very close-knit community. So if they love you, they will definitely refer you. They'll come and stay with you time and time again. If they don't like you, everybody will know. So that's the other flip side of it.
Entertainment culture is, again, it's all based on relationship. So that goes for, tier 3 to tier 1, right? So makeup, hair, costume, they're a crew. They travel from movie to movie to movie. They live in the same areas. They will want to be in the same place, right? So that may be tier 2 and tier 3, right? all the way up to tier 1. So it's a very, and when you're dealing with them, they'll refer all of their friends, right? That's what this is. It's you're a friend of mine. I hate to say it's kind of like a mom, but it's like you're a friend of mine. If I vouch for you, right, I'm vouching for you, and I'm introducing you to my friend. And I want to make sure that you take care of that person, and it's a concierge-driven business. And so when you think about even when they come into your municipality to film, when you go online to try to find out what's filming, you'll never know, right? Because even on the permits, we put a bogus name. We put a working name. So you don't know what production is. When you guys see the yellow signs out front, it is not the name of the actual movie. So everything is about discretion from them landing in Georgia. Everything is discreet, right? And if they do, after they leave, you can have at it. You can take the pictures. You can take the pictures that you took while you were there. You wait till they leave, then you can post them, right? So it's when that project is released. And so that's kind of how it works. When they're in production and pre-production, you're very quiet, you're very discreet. Once it's released, it's fair game because now it's in the public lexicon, it's in the atmosphere, so you can do because everyone else is. So that's kind of how that works.
Yeah.
See, I feel like the people in the television world love working with me because I don't know who anybody is. I mean, it's great. So when they, I pick them up at the hotel and so and I'll start asking questions. Now I Google them. Now I look on their IMDb. I'm a little bit more familiar with them. But I remember the one actor who was coming in to play a Georgia sheriff, and he was British, and he got in my car, and I was like, so how are you going to pull that off? And it was so fun because I didn't know who he was, and he had been in a couple major motion pictures and whatever. But the one thing is, if you get into this business, you make Georgia look really bad if you don't return phone calls. I mean, it's really, and I get a lot of carcasses from realtors who just drop off, and they promise to send, options for them. They don't get anything, or they get options that aren't available, or whatever. They lead them down a road, and then they go, I've been led down this path, and then now I've wasted time that I could be over here trying to secure something else. So follow through, professionalism, just great work ethic is going to, if you want to get into this business and do it, and like we say, it's a relationship-based business, and you have to earn the respect. And then they'll refer you, because they're like, and I say this very affectionately, they're like circus people. Yep. And they love their people, they're very protective, they're usually in, hiking boots and cargo shorts, and they're like in the trenches, and they love one another, and so you have to respect that, and then perform.
And to that perform factor, that's one thing. If you're not ready, make sure that you refer to someone who has systems and people in place, because all it does, we're grouped together as Georgia Realtors, as Atlanta Realtors. So if one of us doesn't do right by someone, it gets spread. And that's one of the things, I know, LaRonda, you were saying when we, probably a few months ago when we had an event, was how, what we do, it ripples. They talk in LA. They, just like she said, like the family, everyone talks. So if you don't perform, seriously, your name will be blacklisted. And then it's like, don't call that person.
So
and a home.
I moved here from LA in 2013, right? And so in opening the film office, with the city of Atlanta, I called myself double phone because, I had the two phones. I had the 404 for the city phone, and I had my 310 LA phone, right? So the thing was, whenever people would call my 404, the way they spoke to me from LA was different. So that's why I started giving them my 310, which is Beverly Hills, right? So when you call me, I understand what you're saying. Quick, we don't have any problems. This is the thing, right? Because I already know where you are. I already know what you're looking for. I'm one of you, right? Mm-hmm. That's how we were able to move things along in that city office so quick, so fast, and we were able to concierge them through the whole city of Atlanta, right, and dealing with the neighborhoods and I had a uniform. I created a uniform for the city of Atlanta, so I would go into the neighborhoods, preface them getting there, deal with the HOAs, talk to everyone there, let them know, hey, they're coming, right? And this is what you can expect, right? So, and then even when there were challenges, I created the 24-hour hotline for our residents, but also for the crews and the production community. So if anything happened, you can reach me at 2 o'clock in the morning, because if the radio's on, if the TV's on, I'm on, because that's entertainment. Right? And so that's what made the difference for the city of Atlanta with them coming in, because the office was set up to be a facilitatory office, and for them to have a place in understanding and dealing with all of our communities and laying the foundation for what we're talking about here right now.
And with these opportunities, you're probably saying, well, how do I get paid, right? You want to know where the dollars are at.
Well, the dollars are cute now. The dollars are nice. We're dealing with the major now. With the student film, I can't promise that. You guys can do that out of love. Out of support for Georgia. We want to support our kids coming up in the business, making their projects. We want to make it easy for them because we want to create stars here.
Yes.
So we need your help to do that. So don't charge them $1 gazillion and don't tell them no.
You want to take it first, Deborah?
Sure. So I came up with this formula 11 years ago, and it's just 10% of the total lease amount to be received. It's very easy, and it's not a whole lot of money. So that's the reason why a lot of referrals come to me, is people just feel like I'm getting paid for how much, for this a lot of work. But it's more like volume. So if you get, multiple cast on a film, then the volume actually makes it very lucrative. But that's what I charge. And sometimes I'll get like a sneaky contract. They'll say that, oh, well, let's just upcharge their lease rate so I can get an extra 5% or extra few $1,000. And I'm like, no, we don't do it that way. And so, it gets a little unethical sometimes, and you have to rail it back in. But it's just 10% of the total lease amount, and usually
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you really quickly. Due to antitrust, we don't want to use percentages? Dollar amounts?
So, exactly.
Percentage is good, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
You can't name percentage.
Not
Not the
percentages.
actual number, but she can say a percentage of the lease amount.
There you go.
percentage of a lease amount,
Yes.
yeah.
Right.
And the
Don't make
homeowner
that
pays that. Yeah, and the tenant does not.
Yeah.
Now that that's been noted again, please.
You have to base your model the way you want to work. I don't do a percentage. I have my own broker, and I created it for that purpose, so I can create my own rules. And because the industry is so flexible and all over the place, I chose to have a brokerage because I couldn't get a brokerage to conform to my model. So I created my own. So I get a lot of referrals from agents that can't rent to stars and celebrities, athletes, and entertainers because of the rules of the brokerage. And that's fine too. I love working with other brokers, I love working with other agents, and I love referring. I sell in different states outside of Georgia, so I learned that early on dealing with athletes because they jump around. So I knew early on I had to get my own brokerage because I had brokers that said, Nakia, you can't get 3%. I said, I represent the buyer, I can. And as long as I don't negotiate in that state, I can get to 3%, and I do, and I have. So
You saying percentages.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Number.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We might go to the next question. You guys can attack her afterwards.
No, percentage, you say you get a percentage.
yeah, just a percentage of the sale. So I learned early on, and it
You
varies.
see,
So,
this is where the movie business comes in, because if they're filming, we're gonna edit this piece.
yes. So I love what I do, and like Deborah was saying, it's not a big check at once, but the volume, the referrals, the experience, and just the overall model. It's just a new game. And I just like challenges, and I love making things happen for people. So that's why I love doing lifestyle services.
It actually works out very fair when you look at the dollar amount and all that you do. So I do all the contractual work, I do the inspection with the homeowner, we document everything, and then when they leave, we do it, we button it up. So for the amount of work that we put in, it actually is very fair and for the homeowner, and they see the value. I don't think I maybe have been challenged unless the deal got a little skinny. And then I didn't charge that full percentage because he was taking a little bit less, and so I took a little bit less, and we just fine-tuned it. But it's usually very, very fair for all the work that we put into it.
And furnished rentals take a lot more work. Furnished, you
Yes.
have the inventory.
No, the
what's in the
unfurnished takes a lot
property.
of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna open up for Q&A in about 6 minutes. But I wanted to ask LaRonda and Minuet, as far as the top 5 locations, LaRonda, what are the top 5 locations studios are looking for to film? And housing-wise, Minuet, what have you, and feel free to answer for housing too, but Minuet, for housing, what have you seen are the top kind of locations that people want to be at?
Inman Park, Old Fourth Ward, not Castleberry, Cabbagetown, Virginia Highlands, and Black Cat, and Midtown still. So those are kind of like the primary areas.
It's on.
It's on. I said Old Fourth Ward, Inman Park, Cabbagetown, Virginia Highlands, Midtown, and Buckhead. So those are kind of, Buckhead used to be the premier, but now a lot of people want that walkability, so anything on the Beltline is ideal. I wanted to mention about the percentage too, like with Atlanta Luxury Rentals, because we managed all the properties ourselves, because they were our properties. So when you guys would come to us, we would give you a percentage as a referral, but then we would take care of all the issues. So you wouldn't be getting calls in the middle of the night to, my cable's out or my washing machine doesn't work. So it was, for that, it was pretty easy.
And with saying that about those repairs, I'm sorry. When I say that Atlanta luxury properties are fabulous, I did put a A-list, tier 1 talent in a home, and the agent presented it to me as luxury. But the owner went overseas in the Capri Isles somewhere, and this particular agent just dropped the ball. I mean, the pool lights didn't work. There were ants in the home. It was just it was a lot of different things where I came out of my pocket and had my vendors go and take care of. And this is a multi-million-dollar listing that he did let go. And this was one of my top clients. And I'm honest to say, they have not called me back, and they have been coming back and forth, staying here. But this agent just totally said, Nakia, if you were looking for that, I would have told you this wasn't the home. And this was a $25,000 a month rental, and my client was there for 4 months. And so, if you're going to speak to clients, know that your owner.
No more numbers.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
No prices, rental prices.
Okay, sorry, rental prices, fees. I'm sorry. It hurt me because it hurt because it was a very high profile client, and the agent, I think, just made me just look totally bad. And I paid out of my pocket for repairs and cleaning service. I did everything, and it wasn't my listing. It wasn't my client. And if you're going to take these properties on and you have owners, please speak with them that things may come up. Do the inspection as if you're selling it. Have the house exterminated. Don't put, if you have a multi-million-dollar listing, you should have 600 thread or above. I'm thinking 1,000. But if you want to know how to do it right, visit Atlanta Luxury Properties. Like Atlanta Luxury Rentals. And so to know how to do it right. Don't just play around with it, learn it, understand it, because it could cost another agent a client because you're not really taking the business seriously.
And also too, on that note, whenever I speak with a homeowner about using their properties, I always suggest that they keep their housekeeping on board. Every 2 weeks at least, they build that into the price, because that's their eyes and ears, not to spy, but just to make sure the house is being well maintained. The lawn is being treated nicely, and it's all turnkey. That's why I say I try to match the tenant with the landlord, because I want to make sure that the landlord is in tune with his property and make sure everything is up to speed. I mean, there's been times when I've had, talent that has assistants, and you don't have to worry about it. And then the housekeeper will send a little screenshot of trash that's not been taken out. And it's just one phone call to the travel coordinator, and that speaks to the assistant and says, we need to do a little bit better here. So it's really a very collective type of responsibility. But that's what you have to do.
Well, I think, again, in terms of the top 5 locations, there's in front of the camera, and then there's behind the camera. So behind the camera, I'm gonna leave that to you guys, but I can tell you in front of the camera, in the Atlanta metropolitan area, the top filming destination for the whole entire state of Georgia is Zone 2. Zone 2 is considered downtown Atlanta, right? And so it is the area that receives the most requests and is most permitted and is now dealing with the most fatigue, right? And so places that they like to, most production companies, they want, depending upon the script again, but, Atlanta can be anywhere USA, with the exception of the beach. And even with the beach, you go to Savannah and life is good. So, we are anywhere USA. So that is, like you said, Old Fourth Ward, they filmed there, Emmett Park in terms of, types of houses, Survivor's Remorse was off of Tuxedo. Like you have, it can vary. But morgues, hospitals, schools, police stations, city halls, these are things, and that's really what I do when I go into a city to set them up for filming, is say, look, they're gonna wanna use your local morgue, your hospital, your police station, your schools. Can we get everybody in one room and have a conversation and decide from a city standpoint, we want filming here to increase our economic development? Because you have to have everybody on the same page in order, because with the tax incentive, doesn't matter. It's great that we have it, but if they come here and they can't get their shot, it doesn't matter. So what we have done is overall, we've made it easy for them to get the shot. Whether that's the support of the housing, whether that's, working with the location managers and great locations. We make it easy for them to get it done here, because we want them here and we appreciate it, and vice versa.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
And we're gonna open it up for Q&A. Rod has the microphone. Here he comes.
Do you feel that the recent political decisions have really affected the future of film in Georgia, or do you think this is blown out of proportion by the media because you're dealing with these people all the time?
So I will say on that one, just because of certain boards that our members are on, we actually can't touch that subject today. But thank you for your question. And I think everything impacts everything.
I will say this. I think that it is, specifically because this is a national women's issue, it's a challenge for women all around, no matter what side you fall on. It's challenging because, the weaponization that's going on with the laws versus how you live, how you support your family. We have a lot of women. Georgia is very inclusive when it comes to our sets, more inclusive than Los Angeles in many cases, right? On so many different levels. And women have the opportunity to rise in terms of, their career trajectory here, because we are a smaller industry. So if I start as a location PA here, I may end up being, a location manager in a shorter time than if I would in Los Angeles, right? Because we're smaller, right? And the numbers are different. So it's sad all around. And so, we want to focus on the jobs. We want to focus on keeping Georgians working. And that's the most important goal of this. We're focusing on the jobs. We work. Georgia works. Let's get to work. And we'll deal with the other stuff. No.
you dying? Say why.
What percentage do you guys see when it comes to renting versus selling? Just for the clients that don't want to rent their house out and are looking to sell, what are you guys seeing percentage-wise versus rent versus sell?
I'm not sure I understand that question.
So how many,
Like 80% of the clients are renting, or versus 20% are coming in and buying. Like what percentage are you guys seeing?
I'd say 95% are renting, and it's a very small number of people that will want to purchase. You agree?
This is Carla Riola, and I am, since this is about boosting your business and trying to figure out, do I add another side to my business? My question, maybe it's a combination of everybody, but Loranda, how many, I know you can't say when, but I'm trying to figure out what is the number of applications for production that are going on in the city, right? To try to figure out how does that fit into my business plan? And then is there a place where you can at least have an idea of that? Or the other thing too is it that there's, you mentioned applications, right? So there must be a certain number. Is there a seasonality to that application process, right? I'm just trying to figure out is there a number, a target that I can hit on? And sorry, I'm doing like 3 different things. But then I think that the gentleman here asked a little bit of a question, what's the breakdown? And then is there a board or something where we can figure out, where we can communicate, right? Where we can kind of chit chat about that, because not everybody's going to be able to fit into that business, into their model. So that was it.
Okay, so just to give you some idea, for 2018, there were over 450 productions that came into the state of Georgia, and that's a cumulative number. That includes features and television series, right? Like I said, at any one time, we can staff up to 50 productions. And that's 50 major productions, because really they don't count like what I would consider really indie mom and pops. And that is productions from, 200,000 to, 5 million, right? Those are indies. Nobody's like, who are you? I hate to say it, but they're not really counted on that level, right? So we're talking, because it takes 500,000 to qualify for the incentive off the top, right? So with that being said, with those 50 productions being staffed at one time, on any given production, there's at least 150 crew members, right? That come with that production. Some will need housing, some won't. Because the good news, the point of the incentive was that we wanted to get Georgians working, right? So now 60% of the sets are staffed with, people that reside in the state of Georgia. So, so that leaves the 40% that needs to be housed. And that's usually the above the line, because most of all, the below the line is here. Right, so above the line, again, is the creative talent. Executive producer, script writer, script supervisor, line producer, that type of, those folks. Talent, all the talent, most of the talent.
So
now we have a lot of talent here.
So if you want to jump into the whole game, per se, crew, I don't think this has changed, is they get $83 a day. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. For housing, I think it's not food, car, and I think it includes gas as well. So it really was like $2,500 per month to include all utilities for crew. I don't do much crew housing anymore, only because that's
right,
going away.
And within that crew housing, it'll vary depending on where they stand within their union. So, there's like 1, 2, and 3 within that amount. So, yes.
It's hard to find. I mean, Atlanta is expensive. I mean, to get an unfurnished apartment or a furnished apartment for $2,500 is impossible.
It used to be very common
for that. So, I mean, you definitely, an unfurnished apartment's going to go for $2,000 to $4,000 a month. So,
And see, California's kind of jumped back at us and said, oh, wow, y'all's prices have risen.
Yeah. Yes, it has.
That's actually, I appreciate that number because again, it's breaking down and trying to figure out what the payment.
Yeah.
And sir, your question?
Yes, I'm fairly new to this industry, so I want to know, how does one go about entering this kind of market with the show business?
Relationship, right? With all these amazing women up here, this is a great way to get started because you're meeting them in a place like this. Most of the time, it will be the travel coordinator, line producer, UPM on a set that decides, about the housing, the travel, the thing. They're gonna give, like, what'll happen is the line producer sets the budget depending upon the talent writes into their agreement what it is, and then the travel coordinator, line producer will execute all of that with the talent's management and their team. So it's all about a relationship, and I hate to say that. That's just what this is.
You don't
It's
have
not.
a relationship.
I mean, there's no.
Break in, coming in.
Right. I mean, there's no. And I'm going to tell you guys, there's no. And please, ladies, correct me if I'm wrong. You haven't had a formal entry point. You didn't. Like the mere.
Someone called. Well,
Right. And the
someone
good news is. The good news, the amazing news is that these are friends of yours now, right? And so these are the relationships because they're doing it every day, all day, 365. If start there. That's the only thing that I can tell you because, or if you know somebody that is in the film industry working on a set that also has a relationship, find out who the travel coordinator is. And then there's also one thing that you can always check into is the Oz source book, Georgia source book, right? Is a great resource, and that's the resource points for everything in our industry, from studios to housing to people that do nails and eyebrows to prop houses to plants. So it's called the Oz Industry Source Book, Georgia Source Book. Right now it's about this thick, right? When I first came, it was about this thick, right? So it's huge today. And that's a wealth of information. And they have an online version too. You can also use as a resource your local film offices, right? You now have, well, this is the Atlanta board. Do you guys cover the Capitol? Can I say that?
I mean,
Can I
yeah,
say
there's
that?
lots of agents all over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, these are things that I have to learn.
I understand.
These are things that I have to learn. So they have the DeKalb Entertainment Commission, Fulton County Films. They have the Atlanta Film Office. They have, we have the North Georgia Film Office. You have the Georgia State Film Office in the Economic Development Department too. So all of these offices are listed in the Georgia source book. Also know that your state is a camera-ready state. So that means they have a film liaison in all 159 counties in the state of Georgia, right? So you can look on the georgia.org for wherever you are, right? And pull up who your camera-ready liaison is there, and then go meet them, have a relationship, let them know that you're here, I'm available. You can do that as well.
Can I just jump in real quick? A very easy in. You have a day. Is to do extra work. There are extra opportunities on a daily basis. You sit there with other folks. So while you're waiting 12 hours to walk by the camera, you're building those relationships that they're talking about. The makeup people that make sure your eyebrows are good. The PA that happens to come in and pull your roof in. It's about building those relationships.
Now, I'm going to tell you about the extra work. Yes, but as an extra, you will never see the travel coordinator on the set. But you are building the relationship with the makeup person and all those folks. And yes, If you wanna sit in the hot sun with bugs and buzzing and doing all that for hours and hours on end to do that, you all have at it, cause that takes a certain type of person to wanna be outside.
I would say something even easier. Go into the office that you are licensed with, your broker, and then start just a conversation with the agents with the luxury properties and the properties that are in these zones that we are lacking housing in, and you create your own circle of housing for the film industry. So when I call your office, I can get someone on the phone or agent that now has attended this class. So now when I call your local office, they're now saying, oh, that's Nakia from the panel. Yeah, we got 4 listings here that have been on the market now for a year, and it's furnished. The owners are out of town. Nakia, come by and view them. Let's see if it's something that will work for your request. And let's start there with a conversation with our brokers to say that, yes, this is a need. And Nakia and Deborah, and they don't have any inventory sometimes when these people are calling. I need more inventory. I'm going to just say it now. I need more inventory on the south side.
Yes.
I need more luxury homes near Tyler Perry. I need more luxury homes by Screen Gems. I need more luxury properties also by Atlanta Metro Studios. Because like LaRonda said, downtown Atlanta is tired. They don't really want a lot of the filming right now. They can't stop it, but they are moving the line back further
And it's
south.
really expensive. It's
Yes.
expensive now.
Yes,
Okay.
so I need more properties.
And we have a question right there.
Talk about relationship. Actually, I live in East Point, and it was filming like in my front yard yesterday.
East Point is coming up.
East Point, hey, Will.
Yeah, Tasha Smith was
Nobody-
in my front yard yesterday, and she was waving at me. She's like, "Thank you so much for letting us use, the tennis court." I'm like, "Well, it's not my tennis court. That is the park." But she said, I really, really appreciate it. And so I connected with her and the film location manager.
Yeah.
Because I was heading out, and I wound up, I was like, you know what, I'm going to just stay here today and work from home.
You'll be surprised.
Right, and then they paid me for just putting a couple of chairs on my lawn so the sun wouldn't hit them. But that was, you was talking about relationships. And then she told me that her mom needs to move out of Conyers to go. I said, well, you know what, I do real estate. But I appreciate it. And just one more thing. When you said about your high-profile client, would you, next time, in that same situation, offer like a home inspection for someone to make sure if it's a very big home that your client might be, I now pick and choose the agents that I work with. Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know when I call Mariana, it's a wrap. I don't have to do an inspection for Atlanta Lux. Like it's a no-brainer. But now I have certain agents on my list that I won't even refer, even if they had a listing for a buyer, because of the way if you're gonna work with me on a rental like this, I don't want to be on the same side of you, even if it was $1 million property. And I've let go $1 million customers, like clients, because I do real estate because I love it. I love the education of it, and I shared this so many times with Christian. I'm fortunate enough to really do real estate because I love it. I'm going on 3 years to retirement. So I'm in this now as not competition. I want our industry to be better and educated on this entertainment industry.
And I can just say one thing to Nakia too, is that your reputation is everything. Just like you said, there will be people who you do them wrong, and it's hey, you now messed up my relationship, which is so important with that client. I never want to do. If I see your listing, I will go the other way, and there has to be something else for my client.
And also, can I say one thing? Really know your neighborhoods, right? And know whether or not they are artist friendly, right? Because, and I'm gonna say this is important, because I had an A-list friend, not my client, because I'm not in that business, A-list friend that was on a Marvel movie, that was in Peachtree City, leaves the set, comes home late at night. He's an African American. In Peachtree City, they call the police, right? And he is stopped and he is harassed. So I told his management, I told him, you need to go to Sarah Lee, right? artist community, lifestyle that you like, right there. That's the better place for you right now today. So please understand the communities that you're dealing with when you want to house these folks, because we just want to make sure, again, because that was a reflection on Georgia. That became, this happened in Georgia, right? And it was just the one incident, but this happened in Georgia. And we don't want that to continue to taint our growth in everything that we, are doing here in terms of entertainment.
Good afternoon. My question is this. La Vista Park, where I live, has had a lot of movies and television series filmed there. My question is...
Speak into the mic, please.
My question is, in the La Vista Park area, all right, where there has been filming done, a lot of my clientele want to know if they have a luxury home, how much of the heirloom stuff do they need to actually take out? And is there any guarantee that if they actually move stuff out of their house, that they can have a longer lease, say, than just 6 months or whatever? I mean, because it's a lot to go through. I know you get paid, maybe $25,000 to $30,000. But they're saying if they take everything out or leave some things in, who decides that?
Okay, so two different questions in one. There's the in front of the camera, right? If your home is a picture home and you leased it out and the owner has leased it for in front of the camera, whatever they decide upon, but know that when they come into the state of Georgia and they film on location, they are to leave all properties better than when they came. Right? So that is our gentleman, that's our agreement. So whatever your location manager and your agent, they work that out, right? Whoever's representing the property that's being filmed in, right? And the location manager and the location supervisor on that movie will work that out. On the flip side, in terms of rental, on the rental side,
I usually would tell my clients if they have like very expensive art or things like that, depending on the talent, you don't have to really move a lot of things around. They're going to come in anyway in video, and your client should video too and add that to the insurance policy. And of course, I'm sure they have a list of their items and appraised values and things like that. But I think it's the discretion of the owner. Like if you have a rare Picasso or something in there and it's hanging, I don't think you're going to have a problem with that. But if it's diamonds and jewelry and things like that, put it away in the safe or remove it from the property. But I don't think that would be a factor as far as having to move things and long-term rentals. It's all about the production. We can't say if one person has stayed this long or that, but I have seen talent that will book a property for say 3 months, and then they know they have another project and another one, so they'll just do it for 6 months. So that way they don't have to move their clothes and things back and forth, and assistants are coming back. So they'll take a property for 6 months and then take other gigs, say if they're shooting in North Carolina or they're shooting in South Carolina or got to fly to New York, they'll stay in that property for like 6 months or longer because they have to keep coming back to Atlanta as their hub.
But do you see like it furnished?
Yes. Yes.
A home needs to be minimal.
Yeah.
It needs to be like an Airbnb, a VRBO. All personal photos need to be removed. If they have beautiful china, it probably would be smart not to leave it because it will be used. And most everyone has like alcohol. It will be used. Yes. So if you have a wine cellar that's full of wine, put a lock on it. I mean, they just have to be smart. But actually, I mean, it's a very simple matter of a discussion. So most everybody has like an owner's closet or a place where they can put it and just lock it, and it's very normal, but it just needs to be minimal.
like an Airbnb, right?
Yeah, like an Airbnb. I do want to say one thing, because there's a lot of a lot of talk about like renting it for $25,000 to $30,000. That percentage that you would get for that, those actors are very, very low. I mean, the sweet spot is really. Okay,
They're all
but,
negotiable.
okay. But the kind of like a mid-range that's where that's the sweet spot here for rentals. So that's what you're gonna find.
One or two more questions.
Good morning, ladies. Thank you so much. I wanted to ask you questions more specific to your rental and screening policies. I also am in this space, and so I find that when I rent to the crew versus the executives, my policy is that all residents have a screening. So can y'all just speak to the terms of your lease and your screening process for the A or the B renter?
I don't screen A or B. I've been able to actually deal with production, management, and executives. I really don't book a lot of crew. The crew I more so refer. Like most of my A-list talent, I still call it A. Most of my A-list talent, they'll tell their crew, they're usually traveling with their own, like when you see the credits in this key makeup, most of the A-list, they're traveling with their real wardrobe people, not the set wardrobe people. So they'll have them call me, and if it's a lower price point, because I've called Atlanta Looks before for some of the ladies that work with this particular person, and the budgets were just all over the place, so I just say, well, check this out or check that out. So I never had to get in between the screening process and the rental, but I do know they want easy breezy. So it's like, I'm not gonna screen an A-lister, like, because production is most likely taking care of the finance side of it. But I've been just going with production.
And when they work with the production, they should be insured, right? They're insured, right? So that helps, right? Because when the production brings them to Georgia and houses them, they are up under the insurance when they come into the state.
Yeah, and I do have to say, I mean, we've had very, very few problems, but occasionally we did have a couple damages, and production took care of it very quickly.
So all of that is in the name of the company, the production company for their crew.
Well, what they'll
Or
do,
A very small percentage of
that's what
that.
I'm asking, yes.
yes, and but 9 times out of 10, they'll tell, they'll say, this is your per diem, this, blah, 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 go have at it, find your place, whatever you're gonna do, right? And you're dealing with that person. But if you have a challenge, knowing that they're based on that production, now what happens is if they move from movie to movie to movie, and they're still in their one spot, and you don't know, so that becomes a different challenge, yes.
They do their own screening. They pretty much screen us. You know, you send over high-res images, the specifications, and then they do their own process of elimination, and then they send a representative, or they fly from LA, and then they look at whatever we've presented, and then they make their choice. I do a lot of FaceTime. I mean, I FaceTime through these. Do you do that? And I do a lot of sight unseen.
I understand.
But I have relationships with these people that I've built over. To answer your question, sir, it's like the UPMs, the travel coordinator, whatever. I have relationships with them. So once they are greenlit to start looking for housing, they call me and say, "Okay, I've got these people. Do you want me to broadcast what you have, or do you want me to send over each person individually?" And I said, "Each person individually."
That's right.
I don't want it just to distribute it and then everybody cherry pick. It's just, I want more one-on-one, and it works out better that way.
And we have one final question in the back.
Hey, Christian, thanks for doing this. In reference, piggybacking off of your question, in reference to the insurance or like the riders that we bring, how much insurance, or is there a requirement for the insurance that the talent should have and versus what the homeowner should have when they come in? I have 2 properties that I'm actually looking
Can you talk to the mic? Thank you.
to. Okay.
I require the tenant to prepare a rider on their existing insurance and just present the summary page. And then the homeowner, and then there's a clause in my special steps that requires the homeowner to continue with their existing insurance. So that protects their property, and then the tenant is protected on their insurance with their property.
Right.
But it does not really excuse them if there's a problem with damage. then this, hopefully the security deposit handles that, not an insurance policy because it's not their furniture.
I do, I can answer that question. So we use CBIZ or proper insurance, and they do short-term rental insurance. So it replaces your homeowner's insurance, and it's very comparable. But they will cover you if there is a loss. So if you're advertising your place to be rented for a certain amount a month and you have a water damage, then they'll pay you that amount. If there's damage to the furniture, they will reimburse you for that, so.
Is that covered in the lease? Is that part of, do you build that price into the lease?
No, that's the homeowners. So we, with Atlanta Luxury Rentals, we have proper insurance on each one of our properties. So that's just a cost that we absorbed, so. CBIZ and Proper Insurance are the two companies. They're both like AAA or AA, A+, something like that.
High rating.
Very highly rated.
Did you guys get a lot of value today?
His one lady hand was up like extremely long.
I was bringing the mic over. Okay.
I think it's more.
You have to speak in the mic because it's being broadcast.
I have a question. I think it's for Minuet. So say we have a listing or two in town that's a luxury listing, but we think it's not quite ready for prime time. Maybe it's very traditional, whatever. Could the owner hire you to come and advise on what to do, what to get, how to take it up a notch so it can be tier one?
I can no longer do that because I have a non-compete since I sold my company, or I sold my half. But you could contact Atlanta Luxury Rentals.
That's what they do.
Yes. So, and as far as, they don't manage other people's properties, like all the properties that we had on our portfolio were our own. So, I don't know how he would deal with that right there, so.
Or one of us. So are you going out on your own? Are you starting a new company?
I am not, I'm going back to my design business. So I had Minuet Hardy Interiors, so it's a luxury design firm, and I just decided to focus on that full time.
And she's an amazing designer. If you guys, follow her because her designs are impeccable, like spot on. But thank you guys so much for coming.